welcome to part 2 of Record of the Agarest War video thing. I mean, the first one's kind of important to watching part 2. I mean, there's a lot of context in there, but you're probably clever. You can probably piece it together. People love puzzles, but anyway, let's jump right in. So Leon got married, and he had a kid named Ladius, and we find out pretty quickly he has resolve and a refined sense of duty, which is kind of important when your father signs you and your descendants' souls up to be used in a ritual. So Ladius' story starts out with an order from the rulers of this land to take the army and to go stomp out a rebellion. So, my party consists of everyone from the previous generation except Leon Harding and all the waifus. Also, Ellis is looking a little bit older, and we also got the edgiest looking character of all time. It's like you handed a box of crayons to Shadow the Hedgehog and told him, okay, draw the edgiest looking character ever. Well, I put his dumb character design aside and go ahead and put him on my team, because his special move is one of the strongest in the games. It can usually one-shot just about anything. Even Borgnine with 100 strength can't do that. Tuskblade! Don't say that you love me! So, we get to the rebels and meet their leader, and her name is... Fox Lady. She says that we could spare a lot of lives if we just had a small-scale battle right here. If we win, they'll stop rebelling. But if she wins, we'll join the rebellion. But I actually kind of threw the first fight, and we ended up just getting game over. But on my second attempt, we break out the old life crystals, beat her down, and then I kind of listen to the rebels' plight, and it's like, oh, there's some illegal stuff going on. You know what? How about you join our army? We'll go back, I'll sort things out. When we get back, the leaders say, hey, Ladius, we heard that you were leading the rebels. Well, technically, they joined the army, and I was leading the army, but I wouldn't say that I was leading them. We're going to have to place you under arrest. Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So, now I'm in prison, but duty-bound Ladius accepts his punishment. Even when Fox Lady says that she found a way out of the jail, he says, no, I'm staying. Or at least that's what I thought. I mean, I read all the dialogue, and it sounded like Ladius says, I'm staying, because honor, whatever. But the next thing I know, I'm in control of him, we're in combat, and Valeria was being ordered by the king dudes to, like, go apprehend me. Eventually, she catches up with me and asks me to come back with her so that she can issue the widest sentence possible. But Ladius says no, and we end up fighting for over 45 minutes. It's tough because she just keeps killing my dudes. But, as you know, getting killed charges up Borgnine and Edgelord's super attacks. I get them back up, use the attacks, and we escape in the swamp. And even though Valeria is trying to kill me and my merry gang, somehow she got added to the harem circle. So, while we were lost in the swamp, we meet a young shrine maiden and... oh, hey, look at that! A female character! What's she wearing? Is that clothes? So she leads us back to her village so we can rest, and as we prepare to leave, Daishena asks Yayoi if she'll join our group. But then the village chief is like, you can't take our shrine maiden! And then Elf Sephiroth says, is that because she's a human sacrifice to your pagan god? Maybe? No god I've ever heard of can accept sacrifices without a physical form. Where does this god live exactly? So then the guy takes us to something called an exploration point. Now, these were in the first generation as well, but I didn't have much of a problem there. The thing is that in these areas you can walk around. Hey, that's kind of cool, right? Not really, because in these areas you can run into random encounters. You can't have random encounters in your game where the battles take between 10 and 20 minutes. Seriously, walk for 45 seconds, boom, you get hit with a random encounter that takes 20 minutes. And then boom, after another 45 seconds of walking, you're in another 15-minute battle. But then we found the Demon Lord, and Daishena's like, no, he ain't a god. And then the thing's like, it's true, but I do like eating shrine maidens. And then we started fighting, and the fight was going pretty well until he used Grand Swing, and that KO'd my entire team. Really? I love the random encounters to get here. I'm so happy that I get to do it all over again. Alright, get to the boss. Grand Swing. Are you kidding? I need to go through the forest again? But this time, I brought 20 life crystals, the max amount that you can carry. But the Grand Swing just chewed right through them. Oh no! I hate the forest, I hate the random encounters, I hate this dude, I hate the Grand Swing! Eventually I learned you need to stay 3 or more spaces away from the dude. Also, I just kept sending Sefri Elf in to die, and when he died, we brought him right back up. And every time he died, it charged up everyone's special attacks. I mean, this guy did heal 1,000 damage every single turn, but if you hit him with everybody's special attack at once, he ain't gonna be healing from that. So, with the death of their demon king, they no longer need their shrine maiden for a sacrifice. So she goes, joins our team, and is added to the waifu wheel.
Uh-oh. How old is she?
So we fight our way through the swamp, and eventually we run into Ents. I mean, this fantasy world has a different name for them, but they're totally Ents. And they actually know the way through the forest. So they go ahead and give us the youngest Ent that they have to lead us out of the forest. And when we're about to leave, guess who's waiting for us? It's Valeria and her army. Fortunately, the forest is kind of like a funnel, so they can't fight us all at once, use their numbers to overwhelm us. So I start fighting off waves using Borgnine's freakish strength. But after a few waves, the captain decides, you know what, I'm just gonna burn down the forest. However, it turns out that Ents aren't too big on deforestation. So when he tries to do it, an army of Ents comes roaring out of the forest and just crushes his army. Then I went to another exploration point and wandered around for about an hour. And after that hour, it spat me out exactly where I started. Are you freaking kidding me? But finally we made it to a new kingdom and asked for citizenship. The king is willing to grant it if we repel the army that was chasing us here. So we head back, find Valeria, and do battle with her. And much like last time, we sent her packing. On our way back though, we meet up with the Fox Girl. She joins our team and it completes the, Circle of Wives! So we meet back up with King and he thanks us and grants us citizenship, but he mentions that there is an army of goblins forming in the north, and Ladius, being a new citizen of this country, decides that he would like to help repel them. So we go through an exploration point, and then we end up in the city of High Elves. We meet with the Chieftain, and she says it's boring being a chieftain, and she joins our team. What? Seriously, this was the weirdest part in the entire game. We just meet her and she just leaves. Like even the little kid comes up and was like, Sharona, you can't leave us! And she's like, I'm the chief, I can do whatever I want! So then we get to this other king and we ask, hey man, do you know anything about this goblin army? And he says, I don't know, get out of my house. Then we make our way to the first kingdom.
And the next 3 hours of gameplay were pretty much nothing. Check my notes. Part 29, literally nothing. Part 30, literally nothing. Part 31, literally nothing. Except we did have some like 3x3 square monsters. They were a little tough, but you know, after fighting Mr. Grand Swing, I can fight tougher foes.
So, we reached the very first kingdom where I started, and then I learned that after Valeria failed her fights with me twice, she was placed under house arrest. But she thought that was dumb and escaped and joined my group. And then we had another exploration point, but this one was actually pretty cool because you were inside of a castle. And I was lucky enough that I didn't run into any encounters, but I did get to the 2 sleazebags who betrayed me. After removing them from power and putting in an awesome dude with a mustache, the only problem left on this continent was that goblin army. But to get to that goblin army, I'd need to go through 4 battles. Or, and I'm just throwing ideas out right now, I don't do that, because that's really, really dumb. I just walk around and perfect. Now I just curb stomp the goblins, trolls, and this big old bird thing with about 1 billion HP and call it a day. Now there's only 1 foe left, but I gotta go through 2 battles to get to this because seriously, this game just has so much padding, more padding than an upholstery company. Oh, but first we need to have the second round of which waifu to marry. 9 questions from the budding brides-to-be to choose as your concubine. A bit of a problem, though. You see, in Generation 1, and all the generations after this, every single girl gets tons of screen time. You get to learn about their personalities, their likes, their dislikes, and you get to get a feel for them. Honestly, these girls, outside of their occupation, that's all you know about them. They have not had any screen time at all. I mean, honestly, you know, in that one scene where the chieftain left her town, she said more lines in that one cutscene than all of the girls have over the past 20 hours. So, you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna answer the questions as honestly as possible, and that way I'll end up with the right gal. After answering all the questions is, whew. Oh wow, those 2 hate my guts. Alright, Shrine Maiden it is!
Oh no.
Well, after that fun and games, it's time for the final battle. And if it isn't my old foe, Dark Knight. Well, all of the characters from Gen 1 may have had a swing at you, but what about Ladius, my #1 girl, Yayoi, and Mr. Edgelord over there? Let's fight! And this time, I actually feel more powerful than my foe. Like last time I felt super weak. Here's the thing, he used that team wiping attack again, and it only took away people's HP. It didn't even kill us. Of course, he still had attacks that could kill us, and so I needed to spend life crystals out the old wazoo to finally beat him. But hey, we did kill him. Yayoi managed to kill him with her super move. But in the cutscene after the fight, my whole team was just exhausted. And then I got bored with the whole thing and just walked away like a gangster. But at long last, it was time for Latius to offer up his soul. And look at all the choices I have for brides.
Oh boy, I really don't want to do this, but...
Why don't you take a seat over there?
I'm already sitting, though!
You're already a pedophile is what you are!
I don't want to be a pedophile!
Well then why the frick did you marry Yayoi?
Generation 3, you play as Toma, and it looks like the guardian that he took after the most was Winfield. Now, I never talked about Winfield's personality, but he is just a shameless womanizer, and always had just such witty banter with Ellis. And wouldn't you know, this generation starts off with Toma and Ellis having some witty banter. And as I'll explain later in Generation 3, he also has shameless flirting. So the main focus of the third generation is trying to get rid of that bracelet on Winfield's arm. Elves seem pretty wise when it comes to cursed things, so they need to go to the City of the Elves. The thing is, it's kind of hard to find the City of Elves without an elven guide. But Toma heard that there was an elf spotted on the outside of town, and that she was female. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest, Toma only heard that there was a girl on the outside of town, but they decided to check it out anyway. So we find the elf and she's fighting this big whole thing. But Winfield and Toma, being the gentlemen that they are, decide to dispatch it. No big deal. You know, unless it knows Grand Swing. Crap! It knows Grand Swing! But after the problems I faced in Gen 2, I know the Grand Swing quickly charges up everyone's special attacks. So I get everyone back up on their feet and then I unleash the flurry and kill it. After that, Toma asks Lavina for her number, but she says no. But she will give everybody passage to the City of Elves. So she leads them there, and we eventually learn that Lavina was banished from the city because she's black. Which is weird, because her dad and her sister actually like the royalty of the elves? I don't know. So we asked the codger, hey, do you know anything about cursed bracelets? And he's like, yeah, I know about bracelets. That bracelet's right there, it's cursed, but it has stopped you from aging, but you should probably do something about it sooner than later.
Come on, man, I'm robot arm. I mean, if you don't want a Torbjorn one, we could probably get you a cool Luke Skywalker looking one.
He says there was a hammer of the gods that could do the trick, but it doesn't exist anymore. So we'll have to make our own by getting some sacred spring water, some meteorite ore, a rainbow shard, a world-class blacksmith, and a world-class adorner. You can't have a sacred hammer that looks all scruffy. You gotta bedazzle that crap. But during our conversation, the City of Elves is attacked by goblins and orcs. They trace the bracelet. This is bad. So we fight them, and it takes nearly an hour. But the worst part is that I used like 18 fragments of life. I mean, after the battle, I leave the City of Elves. Feyna joins us, but you see, the secret to winning this game is to spam those revives, and I'm down to 2. I spent over an hour trying to get through this forest to go back and buy more life crystals, but it didn't work. I'm in trouble. Fortunately, I was able to teach Ellis a resurrect move, but she's the only person that can revive people now, and yeah, it was tough. I finally got through all the battles, which was really hard without access to a freaking Pokemon Center, but at the end of it, we met a new character, and oh my goodness, is that Best Girl? Oh, she is so cute, and she's on the waifu wheel?
No way, man, forget that, she is the waifu wheel.
Alright, now to gather up those hammer materials. The first place we go is to this world's equivalent of gnomes to get world-class Adorner Plum, and I love her special attack. So I retire Elf Sephiroth from the combat role so that I can hit foes with her awesome Rainstorm attack. Then we head into a cave that's under a lake to grab sacred spring water. The thing is that the boss was really annoying. In addition to murdering us over and over and over, when he killed people, he moved them around. And as I mentioned way long ago, to string attacks together in this game, people need to be standing in very specific squares. So if he moves you around, he breaks the formation and it's annoying. I did win this fight, but due to the scrambling, I did pretty poorly. How poorly did I do? Well, let me put it this way. After every single battle, you get a rating on your performance, and I thought it was like a traditional school rating, you know? Get an A through an F. And for the most part, that's how it was. I've been getting mostly C's. Some battles go better, some battles go worse. You know, with bosses, I do pretty poorly. I get like a D or an F. Do you have any idea how badly I did in this fight? I thought the lowest that I could go was an F. Nope, it's not. I didn't even get a G rating on this fight. Heck, I did so poorly that I didn't even get an H. My final rating was an I. And I don't know if you know this, but the letter I is pretty far back in the alphabet. After that, we head through the mountains and get world-class blacksmith Gans. This guy looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, his special attack doesn't have a 13 square radius, so he gets the bench. Then we ran into a king who said the truest statement that I have ever read. Your visit would be a pleasant departure from my usual hours of boredom. Yes, these bland cutscenes are a nice distraction from the mind-meltingly redundant combat system. He also mentions that there are goblins all around the continent, and that most of the kingdoms will be attacking them pretty soon, and he'd like me to go to the king in the north to ask him to help out. And since we're already heading to the north to get the meteorite ore, we happily agree. So we go see King Midas and ask if we can go into the cave and if his army will help out with the raid. He says he'd love to, but if his army goes through the mountains, they'll get ambushed because right now there's some rebels. We tell him that we'd be happy to go take out those rebels. So we go, we fight some rebels, but then the leader of the rebels comes out and explains why he defected from the kingdom. Turns out, the King Midas was already planning on helping in that multi-kingdom raid on the goblins. But the thing is that King Midas's army is going to be fighting with the goblins. We asked for proof, and he says that I could go and ask King Midas's daughter. So we head back to the town and meet up with Princess
What did the English language do to you?
Princess Natasha! She says that, yeah, her dad made a deal with the Dark Knight, and if her papa doesn't help the goblins with the war effort, there's a curse on her that will kill her. So now we have to go on a huge sidetrack. We head throughout the entire kingdom, talk to all the kings, and we need to coordinate attacks on all the goblin fortresses. I will travel across the land, killing goblins. Each orc will have a sword thrust inside. Agarest war! It's so dang long. 100 hours just plain wrong. Okay, I killed them all. Now all I have to do is go and fight King Midas and save Princess Natasha. But this fight is so dang hard. I had to reset so many times, and there's a cutscene between. I had to watch the cutscene every time before the fight.
You'll never save Princess Natasha.
You'll never see Princess Natasha. You'll never see Princess... Come on! You'll never freaking save Princess Natasha!
So the first night I fought him, I spent 3 hours fighting him. I woke up the next day and fought for another 3 hours. And do you want to know the most infuriating part? So an average attack in this game does about 500 damage. In fact, look at this flurry. There's one attack that did 1 damage. And you want to know what kind of damage his attacks do? 100,000 damage. What the flip? I only have 5,000 HP. Why do you need to do that much extra damage? He breaks formation, he has huge AoE attacks, and he recovers 6,000 per turn. If I have a turn go absolutely perfectly and everybody does their special attack, I can muster 10,000 damage. But this guy doesn't allow for things to go perfectly and smoothly. Not that it really matters with a 53,000 HP life bar. I was so close to burying this game in the forest and being done with it. But I went online and read, if your people can reach level 50, they'll get access to a holy cow super move. So I went and completed every single battle that I skipped. That's another 3 hours of grinding. And then I faced King Midas. So then in the battle, I took a bunch of deaths to charge up everybody's super move, and then go beyond! Plus, screw you! After an experience like that, the game gets kind of weak. I mean, we just fought the hardest boss ever, and now they throw a plant lady and some dude with a bunch of art. Die, it's easy now. But now I get to answer all of the girls' questions until they like me. Well, as previously established, Noah is best girl! So I'm going to answer every single question trying to make her happy. So I started answering the questions, and it looks like almost every single answer that made Noah happy also made Thana happy, and made Lavina just more and more angry. Oh man, she is pissed! Alright, for this generation, when I get married, I can actually decide who to get hitched to. No, Monica, I get that you are a best girl, but you're not the best girl of this game. That's Noah. And with with the marriage of best girl completed, that concludes the third generation. If you have another 20 minutes free, go ahead and click on that annotation and let it do its thing. If you don't have the time, subscribe and I'll send more videos your way at your convenience. And if you didn't like the video, well, then be sure to hit that dislike button. See you later!